All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. We are going to be talking about a few more problems and giving you some examples. Some of you have seen these, some of you have not, so make sure you watch it. If you need to skip some, skip it. If you need to watch it all, watch it all. Do what you need to do to make sure that you get what you need. Okay, this is just a reminder of what we talked about before. We can see that we have representative particles. 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd goes with particles. We can see 22.4 goes with liters of gas. We can see that we need the atomic mass to get the grams, and we know that we're going to have to use the periodic table to do that. We don't know much about molarity, and we'll talk more about that a little bit later. So here we go with the first problem. So, how many atoms of lithium are in 3.50 moles of lithium? Well, the first thing that we need to look at is what is our given unit and quantity? Well, there's only one quantity, 3.50, and what unit goes with it? Moles of lithium. So we're going to write 3.50, and we also need to write lithium, moles of lithium, and we need to make sure that that's in there. So after we've done that, now we need to find out what are we looking for? What are we trying to find? And it says how many atoms of lithium. So we write an equal sign, we leave a space, and we write atoms of lithium. Now, the next step is probably one of the harder ones. We now have to determine where to go, but I've made it very prescriptive. We know that the given unit goes on the bottom. The given unit is moles, so I'm going to put moles on the bottom. We're going to put the finding unit on the top. The finding unit is atoms of lithium. Sorry, M's of lithium, okay? Now, what numbers go with those? Well, we know that 1 should always go with mole, and we know that 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd should always go with atoms. So now it just becomes a math problem. We take 3.50 times 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd, divide by 1. Now this is where you need to make sure you know how to use your calculator correctly. If you do not know how to use your calculator correctly, you should probably come in and see me to make sure that we know how to do that. So we get an answer of, first of all, moles cancel out. After we do that, we find the answer of 2.11 times 10 to the 24th. The reason it's 2.11 is because we have 3 significant digits here. And you're going to say, well, Ms. Dover, what about these guys? There's only 1 right there. This doesn't count. Conversion factors do not count towards significance. Only the given quantity does. So we can't count that. Next problem. How many moles of lithium are in 1.58 times 10 to the 24th atoms of lithium? Well, again, we're just looking for our given and our finding first. So we find a quantity. The quantity that we see is 1.58 times 10 to the 24th. What unit goes with it? Atoms of lithium. So we write that down. 1.58 times 10 to the 24th atoms of lithium. Now what are we trying to find? How many moles of lithium? Okay, so that's our finding. Notice I didn't have enough room, so I put it on the bottom. Now we have to determine what's going to go where. It's pretty simple. Our given unit goes on the bottom. Our finding unit goes on the top. So what number goes with our given unit? 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. What number goes with our finding unit? 1 mole. Now, mathematically, we also cancel out atoms, but mathematically what we're doing is 1.58 times 10 to the 24th times 1 divided by 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. So that's what we're doing right there. That's exactly what we're doing. So when we do that, we get an answer of 2.62 moles of lithium. 2.62 moles of lithium. So next, we need to talk a little bit more about this idea of mass because we're getting ready to do a mass example. So we want to know molar mass, which is the mass of 1 mole of a substance, is the same thing as the formula mass in units of grams. So we were talking about that earlier. If I find the mass of water, 2 hydrogens and 1 oxygen, 2 times 1.01 is 2.02, plus another 16, that's 18.02. That's in AMU. So if all we do is change the unit to grams, we have the molar mass. So it's 18.02 grams instead of AMU. So how many grams of lithium are in 3.5 moles of lithium? Again, the process is exactly the same. So we start out and we say, okay, our given is 3.5 moles of lithium. There we go, 3.5 moles of lithium. What are we trying to find? How many grams of lithium? Very good. So we have grams of lithium. Now you noticed that little square from the periodic table popped up. That is because we're going to need it. Because grams is one of our units, we're going to need the molar mass. We're going to need the atomic mass from the periodic table to get that. So the unit we're given goes in the bottom, and that's moles. So mole, 1 mole always goes with that. The unit we're finding goes on the top, that's grams. And the number that goes with that is 6.94 grams of lithium because that's from the periodic table. We see that right here from the periodic table, 6.94. That's right there. So now we calculate 3.50 times 6.94, and we cancel out moles. When we multiply, we get 24.3. Okay, I think it's 24.29 on your calculator, but it's going to end up being 24.3 because you have 3 significant digits on the other side in your given quantity. Okay, next problem. How many moles of lithium are in 18.2 grams of lithium? Once again, prescription, it's the same thing. I'm looking for the given quantity in unit. The quantity that I see is 18.2. The unit that goes with it is grams of lithium. So I put that down, 18.2 grams of lithium. I am looking for how many moles of lithium. So I know that that's my finding unit. Now I just simply put things where they belong. The given unit goes on the bottom, so grams of lithium go on the bottom. The finding unit goes on top, so moles of lithium goes on top. So with grams, because it's lithium, we get 6.94 grams of lithium. Because moles are on top, we have 1 mole on the top. We notice that grams cancel out. So now we have 18.2 times 1 divided by 6.94, and that is going to give us an answer of 2.62. I'm going to verify that because that seems a little bit different from what I would expect, but I'm going to check really quickly. Nope, it is 2.62. Very good. So that's the answer we get for that one as well. So the next one is volume. Volume is actually simpler than mass. It really is. So prescription is the same. What is our given quantity and unit? Our given quantity is 100 liters of hydrogen. So we're going to write 100 liters. Now we probably should write of H2. We probably should write that. So we need to make sure we're thinking about that. And notice it says at STP, and that's really key because if it's not at STP, then all of these things that we're about to say are not actually true. So that's our given. What's our finding? How many moles of hydrogen? So we're going to look for moles of hydrogen, and I'm going to put H2. Now, hydrogen is one of those molecules that in nature is only found as H2. It's never found as H. So that's the elemental form of that. So liters will go on the bottom because that's our given, and 22.4 always goes with liters according to our little wheel. And we know that moles are going to go on top, and 1 always goes with moles. So we have 100 times 1 divided by 22.4, and that's going to cancel liters out, and that's going to give us 4.64. Now I'm going to check that too because I just want to make sure that my math was right when I did this. That's exactly right. Okay. So next problem. How many liters are occupied by 3 moles of oxygen gas at STP? So here we go. What are we given? We're given 3 moles. Okay, 3 moles. Now I want to take a step back because something's not right here. This would not be right. Why would it not be right? This answer is not correct. It's not correct because there's only 1 significant digit here. So this answer would actually be 5 moles. Because I only have 1 significant digit, I can only keep 1 significant digit, and it would be 5. So sorry about that. Okay, here we go. 3 moles of oxygen gas at STP. So that is our given. 3 is our quantity, and ours are given as moles of oxygen. We're looking for liters of oxygen. So again, we probably should put O2 and O2. Remember, oxygen is one of those that only comes as a diatomic molecule. So moles of oxygen go on the bottom, and 1 goes with that. And liters of oxygen go on top, and 22.4 goes with that. Moles are going to cancel out. 3 times 22.4 gives us 67.2, but remember, 1 significant digit tells us that that's not right, so I can't write that number. I can only write 70 liters. I can only write 70, so that would be the correct answer. So hopefully you're getting some of these problems and you're going to try that worksheet. So do your best to try that and see how it works. Thank you very much.